Arena! Hey, Chris in the house with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, guys, we are going to explain you everything about the new event from Raid Shadow Legends, the AWAKES. Every little detail of this amazing event that's going to happen, we're going to discuss here today, explaining every little bit of everything that's coming from the next 2 months. Yes, 2 months, because this event has 2 phases. The first phase starts June 5th with the class fusion, the coalition event, and the dungeon boss event that's going to drop pinpoint. We're going to explain everything about that. We already had explained some of them in the other videos, but we're gonna see again some of the details about it. It's also going to give us a new Bastion design, that one that you've seen behind me, and the original soundtrack. This one that you might be listening in the background. This is going to be the new look of the Bastion that we're going to have during this event. It is all corrupted by chaos. And the second phase is going to start on July of this year, and it's going to be a free legendary champion from daily login, which we're going to talk about in a few seconds, and is going to go until August. Total event is going to start on June 5th and is going until August 6th. This is the range of the AWAKES event. On this event, we're going to have a lot of things, from the coalition event that everybody's going to put efforts together towards a common goal. I'm going to explain a little bit later. But we're also going to have 5 new champions added to the game, and that's really cool. One mythical champion, Kurosa de Cuvetus, the one that we already saw, this one that you're seeing him on the screen. On the other side, I pointed to the blank space, probably that editor is going to troll me, I know. And I'm gonna throw you, editor, now. And 4 legendaries. The daily login, that is Lemnis, the Goldwing. We don't have any information about it yet. We don't know the kit, we don't know almost nothing about her, just the visual that is this one that you've seen on screen. We're going to have Tulin, the full beard, that's going to be the classical fusion that's going to start with the event on June 5th. This one we already showed the kit, but we don't have the visuals yet. They are hiding parts. And we're going to have more 2 legendary champions that we're going to be able to get from shorts, maybe summon bust. The first one is Graos the Drake. We're gonna talk about his kit a little bit later. And the second one is Balar the Lost. Let me talk a little bit about when we're getting these champions alongside the event. The Lemisi, the Goldwing, is going to be the champion we're gonna get from the daily logins. So you just have to log in every day until the end of the event to get her. It's going to be on our rosters during... If you log every day, it's going to be on our rosters on the end of July. Tolling Full Bird Fusion is going to be a classical fusion and it's going to start on June 5th with the event. Graos and Balar the Lost are going to be at our disposal on charts, and we're going to be able to get them from June 5th and so on. And Kurosa, we're going to get her from Primal Shards. This is a little bit mysterious, but they said it's going to be shard boost, maybe a 2x, maybe a specific change for her, and a drop from Primal Shards on August 6th. For me, that sounds like a guaranteed champion from Primal Shards, but it's just a speculation. I would be really happy if the community is going to get her guaranteed. I don't know the amount of shards that would cost us, but could be a huge to get a guaranteed mythical champion from Primal Shards. Now let's talk a little bit about the coalition event. In this part of AWAKES, we're gonna have quests, personal quests, that's gonna give us rewards that we're going to be able to do personally. It resets in a certain amount of time, and it's your own progression towards the rewards, and there will be also coalition progress towards a global reward. So you're gonna have points that only gives rewards for you and points that gives rewards to the whole community. This is going to be made through quests. We don't know exactly what we're going to have, and there will be also a ranking showing the best players that made points towards the coalition progress ranking. And there's one cool thing. When the whole community reach some milestones, we also going to get the rewards, as said before, but we also going to unlock a multiplication on the personal points that we already have, and that's retroactive. So the points that you already collected personally are going to have a little bit multiplication, and it's going to contribute towards your personal rewards also. So the more you help the community, you also going to help yourself, which is really cool. It's going to be somehow an activity that the whole community is going to be involved. We don't know what the reward is going to be, but I think there are going to be around materials for the relics. That is something really important we're going to talk later on this video, and things related to the Chaos Awakes event. We don't know specifically, but can be really interesting. About the date of this event, it's going to be open for people level 2 and beyond from June 5 to make the points through the quests. From June 5 until July 2, you'll be able to do the quests and get your points. From July 2 and beyond, you're going to be able to still access the table in-game to collect the rewards and see your progress and the coalition progress. And from July 3 and beyond, the event is no longer accessible, so you're not going to be able to even click on this table anymore. So collect everything you had before July 2, because we don't know how it's going to behave, if it's going to our inbox or not. I think it is going to go to our inbox, but we are not sure. So just collect everything you had on July 2 if you don't want to risk. We are also going to have 2 new avatar frames. The golden one that you see on the screen is going to be as a reward on the coalition event, and the black one is going to be a reward for the players that get all the 4 legendary champions from this Chaos Awakes event. And a badge is going to be a reward for the players that get all 5 of the champions from the Chaos Awakes, and it's going to be accessible even when the event is over. If it behaves the same way it was during the Alice Adventures event, the players that were able to get all 5 champions, here is going to be a mythical and 4 legendaries, they got a special prize that was not announced, but it was really good back in the time. It was the cat's gaze plus some gemstones, and it was really worth it. Maybe we get some special reward if you were able to get this badge in the end of the event, or maybe after it, if we get all the 5 champions, Kurosa and the other 4 legendaries, we might get access to a relic or something special, even if the event is over. So, something interesting that is going to be at disposal. And now, we are going to talk about one of the best things we have, new champions. Let's see their kits. Let's start with Balar the Lost. Balar is a legendary champion, spirit affinity, attack type from the Sylvan Watchers. Things interesting. Let's take a look at the skills. A1, Malignant Thorns. Attack one enemy before attacking. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's attack. Interesting, A1. Has a 50% of chance of putting a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. When booked, 75%. Interesting, A1. Depending on this multiplier on the attack, the shield can be big, but since it's an A1, I don't think it's going to be something really amazing, but not a bad skill. Not a bad skill. Poison sensitivity, so probably it's going to be a heavy poisoner. Let's take a look. A2, Twister of Life. Attack one enemy. has a 75% booked to 100% of chance of placing a leech debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, instantly activates all poisons debuffs on all enemies. Okay, a poison detonation skill that also places leech. Oh gosh, so poison sensitivity, poisons, leech. This champion looks like a Chimera champion. Looks like a Chimera champion. This skill is 3 turns cooldown when fully booked, and has 100% of chance of placing the leech. Let's take a look at the other skills. A3, Monstrous Growth. Attack one enemy. Before attacking, places increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns. Has a 75% of chance, booked to 100%, of placing decreased resistance debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Places 3 poison debuffs on the initial target for 2 turns. If this attack's critical, places 3 5% poisons debuffs for 2 turns on all enemies instead. 3 turns cooldown, bro. Increase accuracy, decrease resistance, and poisons. This is a Chimera champion. No doubt, this is a Chimera champion. Because all these things that you see, decrease resistance, increase accuracy, a lot of debuffs, leech, poison sensitivity, buffs on yourself, all these are trials. All these are things that you need to do to complete trials on the Chimera. So this champion screams as a Chimera champion. He's also going to be a poison detonation champion that you can use maybe on waves on some dungeons and things like that. But it looks like a really useful kit for Chimeras. Maybe the record between trials is going to be broken by a champion like this, because he brings so much of the so much utility as a nuker into trials that you don't usually have on the champions. I think he's going to fulfill all the things that we're missing to do like 20 plus trials at the moment. That's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy even to survive the Chimera doing this amount of trials. And there's more. There's passive and an aura. The aura is increase ally accuracy in all battles by 60, and the passive lost to chaos. Increase this champion ignore defense effect by 1%. For each poison debuff instantly activated by this champion, it stacks up to 20%. Oh gosh. He puts 3 poisons, he detonates them, and then he gets extra ignore defense stat. So he's going to put a savage set effect on himself just by detonating the poisons he puts. So long fight battles, he's overpowered probably. That's even more Chimera champion. And also there is a secondary part. Fuse this champion enemy by 5% whenever poison debuff is placed on an enemy. Okay, so he's also boosting himself by 15% when he uses the A3. Bro, undoubtedly Chimera champion. Really, if the damage is decent, he's going to hit really good, put a lot of buffs, a lot of debuffs. This is going to be really cool for Chimera. I am exhaustively talking about that because it's everything that I see when I read his kit. He doesn't even need to hit good, just decent, even bad. Even if he hits bad, the amount of trials is going to be crazy. This is going to be a new level of trials. Decent champion. I don't even need to see the multipliers on him to tell that he's going to be useful for some people. Let's see the other now. Okay, now I have here Graos the Turn Drake. Another legendary champion. Spirit Affinity again. HP type champion from the Demon Spawn. Let's take a look at the skills. A1, Chef Reaper. Attack one enemy. Will ignore 25% of the target's defense. Oh, on the A1. Interesting. Heals all allies with less than 50% of the HP by 10% of this champion's max HP. All you get from boosts is damage. Really interesting. He has a ignore defense effect on the A1, and it's also a healing skill. Decent. seems really decent. A2. Color of the week. Attack all enemies 2 times. Each hit will ignore 25% of the defense of the target with less than 50% of the HP. Okay, so a double hit that will ignore defense if they have lost half of the HP already. Okay, interesting. The first hit has 75% booked to 100% to put decreased defense debuff on each enemy for 2 turns, and the second hit has 100% chance when booked of chances of placing block buffs debuff on the enemy for 2 turns. Each hit will ignore 25% of the resistance against targets with less than 50% HP. Okay, so he benefits a lot from the enemies that already have lost half of the HP. So if you're going to use this champion on bosses like clan boss, chimera, wait for your clan to take half of the HP of the boss before you're doing your keys, because it's going to be more effective. Really interesting. This A1 seems like a nuker. This A2 still seems like a nuker, but at the same time as a debuffer. The A3. Dragon King Warcry places 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also places block damage buff on all allies for 1 turn. Okay. Now he's a buffer also, and really interesting buffs because this is a 3-turn cooldown when booked skill that puts increased defense and block damage. So this champion is viable to make clan bosses comps. At the same time, look at how interesting is his kit, because the A3 he's a buffer, the A2 he's a debuffer, and at the same time a nuker, and the A1 he's a nuker. So they want to put this champion to have everything that is at his disposal. He's at the same time on paper a nuker, a debuffer, and a buffer. Let's see the passive. Ferocious Ambition. If an ally has more than 50% of the HP and is under any buffs placed by this champion, that ally deals 10% more damage. If an ally has less than 50% HP and is attacked by an enemy under any debuff placed by this champion, that ally receives 10% less damage. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. Okay, so he also boosts the damage of your team if he buffs your team, and he also decreases the damage your team takes if he debuffs the enemy team. Really looks like a boss champion. It looks to me really good on clan boss. I think really good. I don't even need to know the multiplier because the block damage with 3 turns cooldown, really good to make clan boss compositions, and he also boosts the damage of the entire team through that. Interesting. And also having these ignore mechanic skills here, he's going to be able to do some amount of damage. So interesting. 2 champions with useful kits for bosses, which are cool. We had a few recently, but it's always good to have more, because more people will have more easier ways to make their comps. And even now with contents heavy on PvE content, like the faction was hard, if we have more options that make us do damage and stay alive and things like that, is also really helpful. So even not knowing the multiplier of these 2 champions, I already like the kits of both. I think they are going to be useful in some areas of the game, even we don't knowing what kind of damage they're going to be able to do. But we already can say that they are interesting just by the effects of the skills they have. So in general, I like both Graos and Balar. I think they are going to be interesting and useful for whoever got them. And for the last, let's talk a little bit about the new relics. And now we got the total info about them. We're gonna know which are the effects and the rarity of each one of them. Let's start for the rare ones. The first one is the Sinner's Clock. It's going to give HP defense and resistance, the effect is going to be the wearers receive 1% defense for each 15% HP missing, stacks up to 75% missing HP, so 5 times. So you can stack that 5 times if you lose 75% of your HP. And the maximum amount when fully upgraded, it's 6% of defense. So you can get up to 30% of your defense if you lose 75% of your HP here with this relic. Okay, it's going to not be bad, but at the same time not insane useful. It's a rare relic. We know that rare relics can change the game, like we have that effect with the Arachna this year, but this doesn't seem one that's going to be that. And the Tempus Morbidia is the second rare relic from this Chaos Awakes event. It's going to give us HP, attack and defense stats. The effect is decreases and steel ton meter effects are 15% less effective against the wearer. When updated, is going to give us 15% more. So in total, if you have it fully updated, 30% less effective are the decrease and the steel ton meter effects on the wearer. Good, but not extremely powerful. Again, it's not going to make a huge difference, for you're never gonna update that to the maximum level, and at least with the resources we have right now. So not crazy, but at the same time not bad, just normal but not crazy useful. Most of the time these two relics are going to be materials that you're gonna use to empower and update to upgrade other relics. The epic ones, Gaze of Damnation. Okay, this one gives accuracy and critical damage and attack. Seems interesting, the stats. The effect, the wearers deals 2% more damage per skill activated, stacks up to 10%, and he receives 1% less damage per skill not activated, stacks up to 5% by enemies under fear or through fear. Here I'm a little bit in doubt on how that works, if this percentage is going to be the maximum amount of damage you're going to mitigate and amplificate, or if it's the maximum amount of stacks that are going to be upgraded here. At the same time, seems interesting. It gives accuracy, critical damage and attack. We use a lot of these stats. It's going to be useful to boost our damage, but it's only going to be useful if you have fear on your team, because the amount of skills used and not used by your enemies under fear, it's what's going to make this relic damage mitigation and damage amplification works. So I'm a little bit in doubt on how this max damage modifier here works and where it is going to be placed, if it's the total stats or the amount of damage itself, but seems decent but not crazy good, because the condition is heavy. Anyway, not bad to use on a nuker or something like that, if you have Fabian on the team, for example, or Embreeze, something like that. Trail of Agony, the second epic relic from this patch. Here, let's see what he does. It gives HP, defense and speed, but speed only on the last one, not the most useful thing. Effect, when enemies steal or decrease the wearer's turn meter, the wearer instead loses 2% of max HP for every 1% turn meter that would have been lost or stolen. Can kill the wearer. Bro, if you put that on someone and you face an Armand, you're going to kill your entire team if the Armand steals the turn meter. Because if he steals 50% of the turn meter, it's going to take away 100% of your max HP with half of the turn meter. This is going to kill your team instantly. Even if you get it to the max level, it's still going to be a lot of damage. So, that can be crazy strategies around it. It can. But most of the time, I think that's going only to contribute to kill yourself more than to mitigate the effect of the enemy team, bro. If you're facing Normans that steals 100% of the turn meter for Lazaris, for example, that does damage and steal turn meter, you're just going to boost his damage. You're going to die. You're basically going to die. This relic is going to kill you more than help you. At first sight, seems terrible. At first sight, on the meta we have right now, seems terrible. And you're not going to fully upgrade an epic relic just to mitigate some turn meter steal or decrease. This is terrible. This is terrible. There can be a strategy around it that makes the Grey of Agony works there, because you might be able to kill yourself and do something with that kill. Okay, but in general, pretty useless and very dangerous. It can work against you more than in your favor. I wouldn't equip it on nobody at the moment. So this was really strange. Grey of Agony is really in agony. Do not equip them on nobody unless you have a very specific strategy on your mind, unless you want to get yourself killed by almonds. Come on, let's see the others. Let's go to the legendaries here. The first one, Guided Pinion, gives HP, speed, okay, speed already good. It doesn't matter, even the effects is already good to have speed on the secondary stats here. And the effects, the wearer receives 1% less damage for each turn of cooldown all their skills. Oh, that's a heavy damage mitigation relic. If your champion has, for example, a 4 turns cooldown skill and a 7 turns cooldown skill, and you use both, you're going to have like 10% damage mitigation just because of that. And it can goes up to 2.5%. So if you have 10 turns, it's going to be 25% damage mitigation. It's not going to work all the time crazily, but it's not bad. It's not a bad effect to have damage mitigation. Champions like imagine if that counts for both forms. A mythical like Galatir that already have damage mitigation on their kit, and you use the skills on the first form and swap to the second form, and you have your skills cooldowns there. Okay, that can be really interesting for mythicals that when they change form they already have like 4 turns to change again. Is already going to be like 8% damage mitigation. If you use this skill, can be 20. Not bad at all. Seems really interesting and gives speed on the secondary stats, which is really good. Not game changer, but really impactful. Good relic, Guarded Pinion. And number 2, School of Treason. Gives accuracy, defense, and speed on the third stats. Oh, if speed was the secondary one, it would be a lot better. HP burn debuffs placed by the wearer deals 10% more damage to enemies with higher max HP, and the damage boost goes up to more 40%, so more 50% in total, guys. This is the Arachna Elish version of the HP burn instead of poisons. This is going to bring HP burn to another level. If you have School of Treason, your Gizmak, your... Oh my god! Oh my god, your Sulfurion is going to destroy the battle. Vulcanus is going to obliterate everybody. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy. This is a lot of damage. With that, champions like Vulcanus, if a Siphi buff, you're going to be able to take more than half of the entire enemy HP. More than half with just one turn of the enemy champion. That's crazy. School of Treason is the Arachna Elixir of the HP burn. This is really powerful. Really powerful. Can put champions that are already in the meta to be more troublesome. And now we're gonna have hard choices because we're gonna have to choose between Wand of Submission and School of Treason for some champions or Arachna Elixir for others. This is the two legendary relics here are really good, really good. School of Treason a lot more impactful, I think, damage-wise, and the speed stats on the secondary is really good. So these two, insane. This is the School of Treason here is the most game-changing one that we saw from this event until now. Let's take a look at the mythical ones. Okay, here are the mythicals. Covetus Passion is the first one. It has attacks, critical damage, and defense as stats. The effect: the wearers receive a 15% shatter. Okay, so he gives you more ignore defense, 15% more ignore defense boost. This is strong, really strong. Is the better version of the Cat's Gaze. Buff for 2 turns at the start of the round. Okay, so it's just for 2 turns. And has a 30% chance. When you fully max it, it's a 100% chance of replacing the shatter buff on the wearers for 1 turn if you kill an enemy. Okay. This is massive. This is massive. This gives you 15% more boost on your ignore defense effects. This is great. This is huge. Really impactful relic. It can boost the damage of your nukers by a ton. A champion with that will like ignore a lot more defense. And it will do a lot more damage. This relic is really powerful. Really powerful. It seems like the evolution of the Cat's Gaze, it doesn't have the HP measurement as negative, so HP champions can also take advantage of it. So you can put that on champions that does HP damage base, that you don't have to you can't put the Cat's Gaze because it does not activate. Come on, this is crazy. This is crazy. Imagine that in a champion like Alio, you're going to give him 1 more buff, a lot more ignore defense effects, and he's going to kill people, put another buff on him, and get shatter again. He's going to boost his stun meter again by 20%. This is crazy. This is on champions like Alio. I'm already seeing the combos on my head, bro. The Covetus Passion is really strong. Really strong. It's a mythical relic, so it's a lot harder to get. Until now, it's going to be easier to get the Treason one, the School of Treason one, the HP burn one, but this is as impactful as the other one. That's crazy. Let's see the other. Crown of Corruption. Gives critical damage, HP, and defense. Already good if it gives critical damage. The effect: the wearers deal 5% more damage and receives 5% speed when above 50% HP. Below 50% HP, the wearers deals 25% less damage and loses 15 speed. Oh my god, this is a all-in relic. And when you upgrade it, it gives you more damage and more speed up to, oh my god, up to 15% more speed. This relic, max level, gives you more speed than a speed set. This is the fastest relic in the game right now. This is crazy. This is going to be a must-have for any speed booster. Any speed booster or champions that are all in nukers, all in very fast nukers. This is going to be crazy. People are going to reach crazy number like 550 speed with that. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. This Crown of Corruption, it can be really bad if you lose half of your HP. But if you don't lose half of your HP in the beginning of the battle, you're going to do a lot more damage. Look at the multipliers in the end of the upgrade session. It's 5% here in the beginning. So in the level 3 is already 10% more damage in total. In the level 4, 12.5%. In the level 5, 17.5%. In the level 6, 25% more damage. 20%, 25% more damage and 15% more speed. This is absolutely crazy. This is one of the strongest relics in the game. Any speed booster is a mandatory relic right now, and the very fast nukers is another mandatory relic. Also, if you don't care about the ignore defense, bro, these two mythical ones are really strong. Both of them are crazy good. I really want both of them as my first relic. That I don't have a single mythical one yet, neither in neither accounts. These two, both the Covetous Passion and the Crown of Corruption, are insane. The Crown of Corruption, probably one of the strongest relics in the game, is going to bring the speed level more 40. More 40 speed up. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I want to see how good it's going to be in the builds of the people. Like crazy amount of speed is going to give. Insane relics. I think the Legendaries and the Mythicals have like crazy good ones. The Epics are really bad. The rares, useful but not anything game changer. But the Legendaries and the Mythicals are like really good. So let's see what we're going to be able to grab here during this event. If they're going to put mythical relics on the event, they're going to give us materials for forge at least one of them. I don't know how hard it's going to be to get them, but I think in the end of the coalition event it would be interesting because everybody would have the chance of try to forging at least one. Let's hope for that. Guys, that was everything that we had to talk about the event that's coming to the game next week, and it's a lot of things, a lot of champions, a lot of events, a lot of new buffs, new relics, new champions, new events, new dungeons. A lot of things is going to be really interesting. Hope you enjoy, and if you like this kind of content Chris and bring in the news, do not forget to and remember, it's all about arena.